you will notice that a new area is becoming accessible to you, spiritually as well as maybe physically. Hey everyone, I'm Anya Esma, and today I want to present you with some journaling prompts for Imbolc or for February in general. Basically, what I want to do with you is to feel into the energy of this season, specifically by looking at the symbols and the metaphors that inform our lives. The things that occur in nature always have a relation that goes back to us, and exploring what happens in nature and thus transferring it onto our own being is the goal of these journaling prompts that I have for you today. So just to say a few words about Imbolc, as many of you will know, it happens on the 31st to the 2nd of February. You can celebrate it on whichever one of those days. But I will say that this year, 2019, there is a new moon on the 4th of February, the Aquarius new moon, and that would also be a marvelous time to celebrate it. So don't pinpoint yourself, don't pigeonhole yourself into celebrating it only on one day. You can kind of stretch it out and spend more than just one evening or one day to feel into the energy that is coming to us, this energy of awakening fire and of creativity and sparks flying and smithing swords and everything that relates to Imbolc. So besides honoring and being grateful for the sun and the returning light, because this is the midway point between the winter solstice and the spring equinox, we also transfer this metaphor of the returning light into our own lives by exploring our creativity in new ways and by planting some seeds of creativity and of creation that will help us grow in the spring and in the summer. So let us jump into the prompts that are full of metaphors and symbols, and to kind of shake off the stifling effect that winter can have on our creativity and on our path. So these prompts are for people who know what they want to do with their creativity and those who maybe don't know quite yet what they are endeavoring in this spring and this summer. So it is both about exploring the shadows that may surround productivity or creativity, and also everything that has to do with letting things go that hold you up, but also finding what you can be passionate about and finding those sparks that you can light on fire. So without further ado, finally, let me tell you what the first prompt is. I call the first prompt Permafrost. Now, to look at the symbolic background for a second, permafrost, biologically speaking, is soil or stone or sediment that has been frozen for 2 years or longer consecutively. That is why with this prompt, we will ask ourselves the following. Think back 2 years or longer. What area of your life has not changed much at all, even though it feels uncomfortable to you? What small step could you take to change it or change your perspective on it? I also want to say very quickly that you can also free write while I speak. So you can stop the video, but you can also just write what comes to your mind, or you can use tarot cards and do a nice spread with these prompts for yourself later on. So what I mean with this permafrost prompt is that sometimes things do not change because deep down, some parts of us does not want them to change. You know, only if all of ourselves is in alignment with the change that we are trying to make will we truly be able to make that change. And this question is kind of targeted towards those who maybe have been wanting to find a new apartment or have been wanting to lose weight. That's a very classical one, or move to a new city, or make any big change, find a new job, but you haven't started. And it doesn't necessarily need to have been 2 years, but if it has been 2 years and you have not made that change, then it is now time to look at truly why. And what I like about this question is that, let's say you want to lose weight, but you haven't quite managed to do it. And it is not just about taking the small steps to make the change, as I said in the question, but it is also about changing your perspective on it. If you have been struggling with finding a new apartment, with even starting the search, with losing weight, then maybe there is some part of you that is happy where they are, that is happy with your weight, that is happy with where you live. And maybe there's a part that is afraid of what might come if you make that change. And it is basically upon you to decide whether that change is something that truly means something to you, or it is just other people taking influence, other people trying to tell you you are unhappy in your body or unhappy in your apartment, in your job. If you are not, then kind of change your perspective. Sometimes we don't even notice when we do what other people want, and we kind of take over that energy and think, yeah, I have to make that change, even though a big part of us is happy where they are at. And letting go of the will to change, if you are truly happy and if you can connect with that happiness and kind of get all of your parts aligned and be content with what is, then you may have to let go of that will to change, and that is totally fine. Of course, if you notice that those parts of you that want to change are still stronger and still working their work, doing their work, then listening to them will be worth it, and realigning those parts that are afraid of change in order to move forward. That was very long and drawn out. I swear not every prompt is like this, but I feel like this one needs a little bit of attention and care, because it is not always just about finally making the changes that you want to make, but also questioning why you want to make these changes and if it is still relevant to you. The second prompt is called bulbs in the ground. As many of you know, there are certain flowers like tulips who have bulbs underground that always sprout again each year. So you just leave them in the earth, they freeze, they are full of snow, and then in spring they come back up. So that is the metaphorical background for this. Bulbs in the ground. Reconnect with your traditions. Which traditions from childhood or recent years could you resurrect? Do you have an Imbolc tradition you don't want to forget about? What is a subject that always comes up for you also? What is a tradition that you now want to build maybe? What is the tradition you want to start and plant in the ground? And no matter how frozen it gets, it will always come back up at Imbolc. That is a beautiful thing to do. The third prompt is called Warmth of the Hearth. Where do you feel you need more stability and safety to truly spark your creativity? And how can you create an environment to follow your passion? So this can be small or big. Maybe you are inconveniencing yourself by not turning up the heater when you meditate, or maybe you are not allowing yourself to buy painting supplies even though you've been wanting to paint a picture forever. You know, I am definitely one of those people. Sometimes I think I want to start painting, and then I'm like, oh gosh, a canvas, brushes, paint, all of that is going to cost like 30, 40 bucks probably. And being kind of cheap about your hobbies, and especially about exploring new things in your life, is very problematic if we really want to spark our creativity. Or maybe this could also mean that you just have to tell your family to leave you alone, or tell the people that you live with to leave you alone for a certain period of time. Or maybe you need a certain tool or a certain mindset in order to get into a ritual or a creative exercise or anything that you want to do, basically. So how can you create an environment of stability and safety from which you can expand yourself and your endeavors? The next prompt is called Sparks, Seeds, and Flames. This is going to be all about finding what you can plant, basically, what seeds you can draw from your environment, what sparks you can draw from your environment in order to light or create a fire within you. Take a minute to look at the last few pieces of media you consumed. Is there a common theme to the YouTube videos, video games, books, movies, or songs you've consumed? And what does this theme mean to you, and how could it fuel your creativity? The thing is, a lot of us, when we are so enraptured in consuming media, we kind of lose track of ourselves a little bit. At least that's how I feel. If I consume too much and create too little, then I will kind of lose my way, lose whatever train of thought I had, whatever train of creativity. But if you then look at what you have been consuming, there might be a message for you. This is basically based on a little bit the assumption of synchronicity, but also of your subconscious kind of looking out for you and making sure that you consume things that may possibly inspire you. So whatever you are watching, don't feel shameful about it, even if it is trash TV, but instead look at what captures you in it. Look at what it gives you, what storylines it has, what character it has that really speaks to you. And based on that, you might be able to find a common theme among all of the songs and TV shows and video games and YouTube videos that you imbibe on a daily basis. So just kind of taking a few minutes to reflect on that and finding the common theme, it might be very, very revealing and might put you in touch with that deep subconscious need for creativity and for trying something new, basically. Because at its core, entertainment has the potential to inspire you if you want to be inspired. So open yourself up to that idea and explore what messages all of the media that you consume might have for you and how it can inform your path. The fifth prompt is called Feet in the Snow. So don't lie to yourself with this one. I know you probably know the answer. And the question is, where do you have to move out of your comfort zone to grow this year? Now, feet in the snow, barefoot in the snow, the implication is that it is stinging, it is cold, it is uncomfortable, but afterwards you will feel your core, you will feel your inner fire after you come back in having been barefoot in the snow. That doesn't mean that you literally have to go barefoot in the snow. If you want to, you can. If you have snow, if you have cold stones outside, that might be enough as well. Essentially, waking up your spirit and your inner core by moving out of your comfort zone can be very stimulating and very inspiring, as many of you know. Of course, it's always scary, but it does hold the potential for you to explore a new level of comfort. Because once you have gone to that first community meeting, or you have tried that one lesson of sword fighting, or you have tried a tarot deck that you never thought you would use, that has really strange imagery to you, you will notice that a new area is becoming accessible to you, spiritually as well as maybe physically. The fifth prompt is called Sleepyhead. What are you tired of and what is holding you back? Maybe it's time to adjust your morning or your evening routine. So with the darkness of winter, which is granted slowly dissipating because we are in the period where the days get longer, it can still affect us. It can still affect us. If you get up at 7 in the morning or 6:30 in the morning and it's still dark, you come home at 6 in the evening and it is already dark, then it can be pretty hard to deal with, to kind of keep our rhythms and cycles and schedules going. What I like to do is to not really resist that darkness, but to work with it. For example, in the morning, I really like to sit in the darkness with a candle lit. Usually this is something that a lot of people would do in the evening. It is an evening exercise to reflect on the day, to meditate. But hey, It's dark now, it's dark at 6 in the morning, so why not do it then? So I kind of start my day with the night routine of summer. So in the summer, I would do this at night, sometime late at night. And now I can do it in the morning because it is already dark. So it holds a potential. You could really think about what potential darkness holds for you, what you like to do in the dark, other than going out and dancing maybe, because you can't do that in the morning, at least not always. But I think there is something to be explored there. The 7th prompt is called New Hope. Yes, as I wrote that, I realized it's basically named after the Star Wars movie, but I'm okay with that. The world is convoluted. What gives you hope in this time? How can you be of service to others? This is a very community-centric question. And if you are into astrology, you might know that the rising node of the moon is in Cancer right now, which means and which heavily speaks to community and to engaging with others and being of service to others. And that is why I wanted to have this question in here, because volunteering or going beach cleaning, going to work in a soup kitchen, or all of these things, maybe even doing free tarot readings in order to help people, all of this can be a service to the community. And of course, you should do this in alignment with your own capabilities. If you are absolutely unable to give of yourself right now, that is okay as well. But I think especially with everything that is going on in the world and that is making us feel powerless and terrible and scared, we do have to find some sort of agency in our daily lives, and volunteering or offering free services of whatever kind, or even just offering kind words to a stranger, can make us feel empowered and make us feel better about the whole situation that our physical bodies are surrounded by, basically. So think about what might make you feel better and what might make you feel in control of this situation. Now, the 8th prompt is called Feed It to the Fire, which is an awesome name. I love the name this one has. Basically, it is about releasing and letting go. With whom or in which situations do you feel truly inauthentic? And is that out of a fear or because you are legitimately past vibing with that situation or person? Allow yourself to sever ties with one such person or situation if all they bring to you is disaster, criticism, drama. So, of course, before we sever ties with anyone, we should examine ourselves and what our issue with this person or this situation is, whether it is kind of breaking our comfort zone and we have to be very reflected on whether we just want to throw it out or we want to see it as a challenge. But I do think that giving yourself permission to at least let go of one such person or one such situation, especially in the face of many of those, can be very beneficial to your mental, spiritual, and physical health. So, of course, you're not supposed to literally feed these people or situations to the fire. It's basically just about feeding certain mindsets that keep you in these situations to the fire, or certain fears that keep you in these situations. So, of course, this prompt is made to be combined with you writing whatever fear or situation or thing around you that you want to let go of on a piece of paper and then burning it in order to release that energy and to focus on what is really important and what drives you, what nurtures you, what fulfills you, rather than what drains you. The last and 9th prompt is called Rededication. Now that January has come and gone, which of your resolutions are really working for you and which are not? Think about how you can keep the momentum going or release those resolutions that aren't important anymore. So this prompt is perfect for identifying where you want to rededicate your energy and rededicate yourself to your resolutions. And do not be afraid to push some resolutions that really turned out not to be important anymore out of your life. Especially the full moon in Leo that happened at the end of January was very revealing about what is truly important and why. So think about the themes maybe that came up then that have been with you ever since. Where have you been questioning whether you are able or willing to go after a resolution or go after a goal? And after you have identified that, you can rededicate yourself to what truly matters, rather than dragging all of this baggage with you that may not even resonate with you anymore. Because sometimes we make resolutions under the assumption that they will be very pivotal and very important in our lives. But then, even after January, or maybe after 2 or 3 months, we realize that it is not important anymore, and it is not as pivotal as we thought or as we would have liked it to be at the beginning of the year. Of course, once again, this is not about dodging responsibility or simply throwing everything out that is difficult, but always do this in a reflected manner and in being willing to challenge yourself, but also to give yourself some peace and some love. All right, my souls, tell me if you had a favorite prompt in the comments or if you have a different prompt. And I'd love to hear how you engage with these if you do, because I will probably use them not just to journal, but also to pull a card for each prompt and see where that leads me. Maybe even do a little bit of a patchwork thing where I use different decks and different energies to kind of bring it all together. And I'm really looking forward to that. So I wish you the best of Imbolcs, the best of Februaries, and if you want to dwell in my domain a little longer, that would make me very happy. Subscribe to me and just take a look at my other videos if you wish. I will link some interesting ones below for you to look at about tarot, about psychology, about feelings, about maybe my depth here. So yes, revel in my videos if you want to. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you all next time.